What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Pursuit of High Performance podcast. My name is Nikita Ragoza. And if you want to know how to reach your highest potential, optimize your life, and be a high performer, then you are at the right place right here, right now, in this present moment.
The
So
right
today's
place.
guest, today's guest is a great friend of mine. He's a Neurolinguistic Programming Coach, NLP coach. He's currently mastering communication and 3D printing services, building a few online businesses in the health and entertainment industry. So I really want to welcome my friend, Joel Boudreau. What's going on, my brother?
Yo, good. And man, it's crazy how things move fast because already um, the 3D printing turned into education.
Mm,
I actually just made a shift these past few days.
awesome, man. Awesome. So I definitely I want you to talk about that definitely in this conversation together. But start off by talking about maybe just a little bit about your childhood, about how you grew up, where you're from, who you are, and like what are those top pivotal moments in your life that really shaped you and becoming the man you are today?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so I grew up in Ontario, actually, in a small town called Black River, in the middle of like the woods, like in the middle of nowhere. You couldn't really find a store for another like an hour or two kind of away, and so it was kind of like farmland. It was very self-sufficient, kind of living off the land, on the water, kind of really being connected to nature. Um, and so I was born there, and kind of going through life, I guess. At 7 years old, my parents ended up splitting up, and so I moved with my mom to a bigger city called Sudbury in Ontario, and that breakup early on really kind of gave me a lot of responsibility. I have four sisters. I'm in the middle, and so with my dad kind of moving out of the picture, which was, I found out later on, like a childhood trauma that I was kind of suppressing. A lot of my emotions were kind of like, put down because it's like, okay, it's not, what's needed of me right now. Like, what do I got to do to like help as much as I can? And so it kind of gave me a lot of responsibility early on. Um, and so, yeah, living in the country like that too, normally you're homeschooled, right? So I was about to be homeschooled, and instead moving to the city. I'm 9 years old, and like I'm being introduced into the public school system. So it was a pretty interesting experience. A lot of people like looked up to me because I was like older than a lot of like people in my class. Skipped a few grades, um, and yeah, I kind of never really studied. I was just able to kind of understand why, you know, um, understanding. I wasn't memorizing anything. I was like, I never saw the value in memorizing information. So I was all about understanding why things did what they did, how they worked, why it's valuable to know them. So I loved math, physics, because I was able to go out there and like fix bikes, um, build little catapults, things like that. So, I was having a lot of fun. Um, and then eventually when we moved back to Quebec, with my mom. She met a guy that didn't actually work out. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy thing, having a mother that's kind of like trying to find that partner. But unfortunately, like there's a lot of people out there, a lot of guys, men that you know that don't take responsibility for what's going on in their lives, don't take responsibility for other people. And I kind of saw that really up close. And you know or it's like kind of they give like an image, and then once you get more involved in them, that image changes. It's like a front that people give, right? Anyways, so I was seeing all that, and I was like, okay, like that's, I didn't really know it at the time, but you're just observing, and it's like you're just understanding what's going on, and like in a way like wondering why that's happening. So anyways, I went to college, got a deck in mechanical engineering, and worked in the industry. And again, I'm seeing people in the industry. I'm having so much fun, by the way. Like, this is my dream job. I'm fixing machines. I'm building things. But people around me aren't happy. It's like, what's going on? Like, I'm having so much fun. Like, you should be having so much fun. I want you to be having as much fun as me. And so I can't really communicate that because I was all focused about machines and like technology. And so I realized that I can't even understand why they're doing what they're doing and all that. So it's like, okay, I need to develop communication. Like, machines can be great, but if management, if communication isn't where it could be, then what's the point of having great technology if no one can communicate and use it? So I go into sales. I go all the way out to Alberta, across the country, because I'm here in Montreal. And so I can't really, go home easily and like give up. So I'm there to like commit, and so, yeah, door-to-door sales and home automation, it really breaks me down. I'm like realizing so many things, like, why do I not even want to succeed in a certain way? Like, because this is commission only kind of thing. So it's kind of the entrepreneur where you have to go out there and sell, make things happen. And you don't have a salary. It's like your performance is depending on your salary is dependent on your performance. Not so that's a great thing to have. And so, yeah, I learned a lot about, being humble, like seeing yourself equal as everyone around us. Because I guess I've always been key on, understanding and my health. And so I see other people that are really prioritizing that. And it's like, it's so dumb not to prioritize your health and your ability to understand things. Like, it's priority overall. Like, anything you do, you're gonna go through that. It's like, it's one of those lenses that everything will go through. So it's like, why not make those as best as possible? And so I was thinking like, I'm so much better than everyone else because I'm prioritizing these things and people are not. It's like, it's ridiculous. And so, I thought I was up here, but really we're all equal. And so going door to door, that really, hit that home. And then I also realized that I needed to love myself more because, it's like anything succeeding in life, you gotta love yourself. You know, especially in sales, like the people that succeed most in sales are the people that love themselves most. And that actually allows you to give so much more as well. And so, of course, there's people that'll abuse anything, but it it allows you to give so much more. So I realized that I have a childhood trauma because my parents split up and I wasn't really dealing with that. And so when I got back into Montreal, I look up hypnosis because I was like, okay, your subconscious is really what's driving everything. So how do we change the subconscious? Hypnosis seems like a good avenue for that. Cool. And then that leads me to NLP, Neurolinguistic Programming, which is like the study of the language that you use and your vocabulary that you built and how you express yourself and what it actually means. And so before that, I didn't really like vocabulary at all. I didn't like English and French or language classes were like the classes that I liked the least because it's like, I don't really care about the words, care about what we can do with them. Or like the physics behind it or like how it works. And so that NLP really opened up my world to vocabulary and like really communication and understanding why people are saying what they say or like what it means. And so, yeah, I just fell in love with that and just kind of been doing that ever since. And it's related to sales, being able to express yourself, being able to ask really powerful questions. And yeah, man. And now,
Awesome.
yeah, like, because it's like this transition between like the technical to the, I guess, more esoteric, but like communication, right? And when that shift happened, going from like, I guess, fixing machines and building them, I was getting into philosophy a lot. So like, Alan Watts, I would listen to him like daily and like for hours, you know, just while I'm actually working, I would just have them playing. And, you know, it really shifted my mindset into, you know, like being this being that we're all equal to. Like there's no separation between us and the world around us.
Mhm.
It's all one in the end, right? And so that led me to a lot of, you know, discoveries. And yeah, so really cool stuff. And now more and more I'm getting into education, because it's that ability to understand things. And I'm seeing that a lot of systems are put in place in order to suppress our understanding and just to do what we're told. And so that's not okay with me. And it's all about having strong individuals that are able to make decisions based on their own, you know, principles.
Mm.
And we're going to be so much stronger with that. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, and I also want to connect with you on what happened to in your childhood when you were 7 when your parents got divorced, because I can definitely relate to you on that. My parents got divorced when I was 10.
yeah.
And I actually want to hear your perspective on your experience, how that had a trauma for you. So talk more about that. Like, how did that cause a childhood trauma? How did that affect you? What behaviors or patterns that creates? And how did you become conscious and aware of that it's a trauma? And what did you do? What did you actually do to heal, or are you actually doing the work to heal it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So for me, when it happened, I kind of just shut down my emotions. Is It was it's kind of like, okay, and this is kind of like your role model relationship, right? It's like the people that have brought you up, that are supposed to be like the ideal loving relationship, and that kind of falls apart. Um, and so I wasn't really interested in relationships that much for a long time, not till quite recently. And and so for me, my emotions, I would kind of not prioritize them very much. It was just like, um, it's like, okay, what needs to be done, like do it anyways, you know. Um, and and so going into sales, that really showed me that my emotions were very important. Like it's kind of like that burning fire, right? What do you want to do, and like getting excited for it. Like I had a lot of trouble doing that because my emotions were like so suppressed. And so with time, it was kind of, just being self-aware, really like coming up, being aware of those emotions that do come up, and like, okay, I'm feeling that right now. That's cool. And kind of just growing that, like that connection with them, commit like that, allowing them to come up and embrace them really. And so that's kind of one of the biggest things is when an emotion comes up, I I embrace it. I like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. Like, let it come through, and especially the negative emotions, because um, that's what will come back even stronger and stronger. Like, and so really just being with it, sitting with it, allowing it to be there, um, and and over time, um, they let's see, like over time you can, I think for me actually it ended up being with principles. Like you're you're comfortable with your emotions, and then it's like, okay, but then principles are what I want to live by. And so the principles, because emotions and feelings, they can be kind of tricky, especially with the mind. Like you can think um, you can think certain things that bring up certain emotions, and sometimes those thoughts aren't exactly healthy thoughts, let's say. and so being aware of that, being self-aware, and daily meditation is something that I every breath is a meditation. And so I'm always as present as I can be, as aware as I can be, in order to have that connection with reality right now. And that's beyond value for me. It just it it grounds me, and it shows me what's real, because in the mind a lot of things aren't real. And so I'm lucky to be able to have a pretty calm mind. And so just throughout the day, like, I'm very aware of my thoughts, and that comes from NLP, that comes from hypnosis. And so um, I'm just, when you're aware of your thoughts, you can know if you're going in a direction that's aligned with you or not. And and then you can allow those emotions to grow, because that's what you want. That's what and it's not what you consciously want. It's like it's like an internal desire. It's like, it's just it's kind of like in a way, a compass. But like an example, kind of on the other side of that, it's like, let's say you want to take a cold shower, right? It's like, you don't really want to do it, but it's those principles that come in that are like, okay, no, like, I know this is what I want to do, and so I'm doing it anyways. And it's kind of like facing your fears. And so, yeah, it's kind of like and that's something that I practice all the time. Like, principles are the next step for me. And so you have like emotional awareness and then principles. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And embracing all the emotions and forgiving them too, because like every emotion that comes up, and like forgiving my dad too, right? It's I don't have anything against him anymore. I still want to talk to him more often, connect with him more regularly. But forgiveness is the biggest thing. Like, you have to forgive the people that have hurt you in the past, and allow them to be themselves. Like, it's one of the biggest things, just accepting people for who they are.
Yeah.
It's that's key.
Yeah, it is. That's beautiful. Beautifully said. Yeah, I just had emotions coming up for me.
Mhm.
And I love everything that you said just now. And even studying feelings and emotions for myself, knowing the difference between them. So feelings are what we feel in the present moment. Emotions are the repressed feelings from the past. So I give examples like this all the time. So for example,
Mhm.
think about a 5-year-old boy. He comes home, he's having fun, he's having a good time, he's singing, he's dancing, he's playing, he's having a great time, he's feeling joy, he's lit up. And his mom comes home, she has a terrible migraine, a headache, and she can't take any noise and irritation. So he triggers her repressed emotions, and she becomes angry and rages and says, "Shut the fuck up. You have a terrible voice. Stop doing this and that." And she shuts him down. She represses his emotions, and it becomes a repressed emotion. So part of himself gets locked. So that's where it becomes a dark shadow or a light shadow. And it's those parts of ourselves that have been suppressed and locked. So when
Yeah.
we go through life, and a situation, a circumstance, or a person says or does something that's very similar to what happened in our past, especially with our caretakers, it brings up those repressed emotions such as anger, fear, guilt, shame, even joy, loneliness, fear, and there's one more. It's just slipping my mind. but yeah, the difference between feelings versus emotions. And if you guys want to learn more about the difference between it, there's a great book called Tantric Love: Feelings versus Emotions by Diana Richardson and Michael Richardson. So that's a great book that I would recommend. Difference between feelings and emotions, different ways how to release repressed emotions in a healthy way, so that that toxic poison doesn't get onto other people. So you're actually able to process them in a healthy way. Like you said, Joel, sit with them. If it's fear coming up for you, become conscious and aware of it. Say like, all right, I'm feeling fear. That means your ego is shutting down. You're able to be conscious with it. You're able to sit with it, and you're able to express it in a healthy way. And then
Yeah.
I love what you said about thoughts, because thoughts generate our feelings and emotions. So what we think generate what we feel. And even deeper than that, our beliefs generate our thoughts generate our feelings generate our behavior generates our actions and results. So it's beliefs, thoughts, feelings, behavior, action, results. So get clear on what your beliefs are, because your beliefs generate your thoughts. So this is what I do personally in my coaching, getting clear on what people believe. What are their limiting beliefs? What's holding you back? Is it that you believe you're not good enough? Is it that you believe you're not worthy enough, or you're not worthy of being loved, that you're not being heard or seen, that your feelings don't matter even? Or do you believe that you don't bring value to people, or your services don't bring value? All these different beliefs, all these limiting beliefs hold you back, because they create your conscious awareness. They create your interpretation and perspective of the world because of the thoughts you think. And we both went through a 13-hour course by Kevin Tradea. What's it called again? Your wish is your command, right?
Your wish is your command. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
he
Kevin Trudeau.
talks. Yeah, Kevin. He talks about how our brain is a transmitter and receiver. So our thoughts generate that vibration, and we attract people, circumstances, and situations in our life that mirror back to us what gets to be healed within ourselves. So even, for example, what's going on right now in the world, you can look at it as something external with COVID, the elections, and the racism and the violence and everything else. You can see it as an external. And if you're very conscious and aware, you can see it as an empowering way to view what is it mirroring back to you. What is it mirroring back to you that gets to be healed? What fears are you not viewing? What fears are you repressing? What emotions are you repressing? Are you repressing anger? Are you repressing fear? Are you repressing guilt? Are you repressing shame? Are you repressing loneliness? Are you even repressing joy? So see everyone and everything as a mirror to you, because like you said, Joel, we're all one. We're all energy, vibration, and frequency. That's the biggest thing that I've experienced, not only learned, but experienced the different modalities.
Yeah.
And I love everything that you said. There was something that I wanted to dive into, but it slipped my mind. So it's all good. I'm letting it flow.
Yeah.
I want you to bounce back everything that I just said. So like, I want to hear everything that you have to say about all this.
Yeah, well, like feelings and emotions too. There's many definitions and there's different ways to kind of interpret them. And one of the ways that I've seen them is like your emotions is like the energy that comes up, and your feelings is your reaction to that energy or your interpretation of that energy. And there's another, I guess, body of information called destiny, and spelled a little bit differently with an I at the end. And they go with like emotions are like positive, and then feelings are negative. So I'm like, I think that's actually the opposite. Like an emotion is negative and a
Yeah, the
feeling is
opposite.
positive.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just about finding something that works for you, and I guess really just whatever the information is presenting, like how it works together, like the context that it brings, and that's going to be useful no matter what. So that's the thing with words. Like it's fascinating more and more, just because a lot of words will have those emotions attached to them. And then when someone says that word, we get triggered, and these emotions come up, and it's literally like buttons that people have on us until we
Yes.
address that. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, I'm feeling that because of this, because they said that. Okay, like how can I look at
Mm.
that? And it's all you, like you're generating all
Yes.
that. So you can get mad at the world around you, but no, like you're being mad at yourself only. That's it.
Mm.
And so when you can look at what's triggering you and look at it from within, like, okay, what is coming up for me with that, and and go from there. Like that's when the world opens up. Like
Yeah.
that's when you can really change and transform. So
Mm. Mm. That's leadership, that's empowerment, that's responsibility, as you said,
taking
being responsible.
responsibility. Yeah,
Yeah, I love what you said just now. Like it's not the people, it's us generating what's coming up. So it's looking within, what are the buttons being pushed. If there's buttons being pushed, that means there's something unhealed, unresolved. That means there's trauma there. So that's the work that gets to be done, to look within, to see why. What's the root cause? Not the symptom. The symptom is the emotion. The
yeah,
symptom is the reaction. But what's the root cause? What's generating that repressed emotion to come up? What
yeah,
happened in your childhood? Like what happened even in your past generation? So it's generational trauma. It's studied in epigenetics now that we don't only experience our own traumas. It's actually, we also experience our generations. So our parents' traumas, our great grandparents, our great 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 grandparents, and it goes back. So
yeah,
I believe that we are the generation, and I'm going to take responsibility. I'm the person here in my family to break the lineage, to break the generational trauma. So I'm doing the work not only to heal myself, but to also heal my past generations, my parents and my great grandparents' generations, so that doesn't move on to the next generation. I want my kids to be conscious and aware and vibrant and loving and energized and peaceful and just supreme vibrant warriors in this planet, and bring love and happiness and joy to this planet. So I'm here like making that stand for myself and for the future generations. So I love the joy that on your face right now.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's in our DNA, and it's transferred over,
Yeah.
um, and we get to be, we get to be that generation that breaks that, and to be the change that we want to see in the world,
Yeah.
to create this world together, man. Like that's
100%. As a collective consciousness. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And also, I remember what I wanted to talk to you about, which
yeah,
was going back to relationships and family dynamics and the experiences we had with our parents getting divorced at an early age.
yeah,
Um, this is a very important topic that I love discussing and diving deep into, because everything is a relationship. Everything.
yeah,
Our relationships with ourselves, our relationships with coworkers and bosses and employees and family and friends, and with the planet, with the trees, with food, with
yeah.
nature, with our biology, with our psychology, with our spirituality, with source, with God. Everything is a relationship. Everything is a connection. So
Everything is.
I love talking about this. What have you done to support yourself with communication skills, with actually working on that traumatic experience that you had with your family dynamic? So what have you done yourself?
Yeah. Um, so I've I've just kind of like faced it more and more. Like I've had a lot of resistance with like calling family and like seeing how they're doing, like what's going on. And so I can have a lot of, things in my head that were like, oh, they're gonna think this, or, and it's not conscious. You got like someone really, sat me down and was like, okay, like what are the beliefs? Because everything like you mentioned it earlier, and this is something that I dive into as well,
Mm,
is like values and beliefs, right?
mm,
What's the belief there? And it's not a conscious thing. Like it took me a long time for me to just like actually just go in, because I thought it was like, okay, I could just like realize what my beliefs are like as I go, and like, okay, I'm not doing this because I believe that. But no, it's subconscious, and
mm,
you have no idea what it is until you write it down, really.
mm.
And it's good to have someone like you Nikita, or someone like myself to assist
Yeah.
you through it, because we'll will push you to that point of like what's there,
Mm.
and you know, go into that unconscious world. And so yeah, I wrote them down, like, oh, they're gonna reject me like they rejected my mom, and they're gonna, you know, all that. And so these are, you know, these are the beliefs that I had. And the beliefs that you have aren't really based on reality. It's kind of like, you know, the little kid all happy running home, and then, you know, getting yelled at, and then creating a belief of that. But like that's a isolated situation, and you know, it's very specific with, you know, how they felt right then, and you know what you were doing, and it didn't have anything to do with you, but you created that belief off of this one-off experience, and now you're living your life through it. And it's like, no, question that belief. Like, you can be happy and sing and like have all that, and no one's gonna yell at you because they're not having a good thing. And if they do, then that's something that they have to deal with. It's not, it
Mm.
has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And so writing those beliefs down, I was able to actually, you know, make the phone calls, connect with them, and like,
Mm.
and just go through that, and realize that it's like, yeah, nothing's there. Like, I can actually do this more and more. And you get momentum, and you just face those uh those beliefs, and go through it, and change them, and really create more empowering ones.
Yes. Yes, brother. Yo, that's exactly what I do in my coaching actually. So supporting people to get clear on what their limiting beliefs are, writing it down, coaching them through it. Where did that come from? Like when did they start believing that belief? When did they start believing it? Like what was the situation? What was the earliest experience that that actually unconsciously drove them to make that belief about themselves, about the world, about their family, um, and then what are the empowering beliefs that they can create to support them to rewire that neural pathways, to rewire that brain to actually believe new empowering beliefs about that situation. And again, loving what you said about forgiveness, forgiving our parents for what they did, forgiving ourselves for what we did and what we didn't do, what we should have,
Yeah,
could have, would have done. So forgiveness is so powerful because forgiveness, what my life coach Mark talks about, forgiveness is coming back to truth. So forgiveness is
yeah,
truth. So forgiving ourselves, so releasing those chains from ourselves. And most of the time, forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for ourselves. You know,
yeah,
forgiveness isn't about saying that what somebody said or did is valid or right. You know, sometimes it's a very dangerous situation that they've put upon somebody else. But forgiveness is for yourself, forgiving that person. So that's a very powerful tool to use for healing and coming back to truth. One thing that I do want to bring up around all of this about family dynamics and especially our moms raising us, and God bless our moms, God bless your mom, and God bless my mom
yeah.
for raising
Crazy,
us,
amazing.
especially for children. For you, you said you're the middle child.
Yeah,
Um, what have you seen from your perspective on masculinity? Like what has been shaped in our society around masculinity, around um, the re- the suppression of masculine energy, the suppression of who we are as men. You know, our nature.
yeah,
From my perspective, is nature of a warrior, a leader, um, a provider, a protector. Um,
yeah,
action, and using anger in a healthy way, using anger in a way where you are being fueled and inspired forward to take action. So I'm actually reading this new book. It's called Sovereignty, and yeah, it's a great book. It's around how the man was also raised without a father. So look at this synchronicity. But he shares how in his marriage that was failing, he was always blaming his wife. He was putting that projection onto other people. He wasn't taking responsibility for his emotions and for what he was creating, and he wasn't stepping into a sovereign man. He wasn't stepping into his nature as a man. So what have you seen in your behaviors or patterns with masculinity around being raised with a woman? Because as we love our moms, they can't give everything to us. They can't give what a man can give us. You know, they can't give what a father figure can give us. You know, that leadership role, that guidance, that support from a man. So how has that shaped you in your masculinity, and what have you been doing to strengthen your masculinity, and what have you been seeing in society around that?
Yeah. Um, so I think it's kind of sums up pretty well in a previous relationship. Um, I was I was aware of it, but I was very like manipulatable. It's like I would just kind of go with, whatever other people wanted to do. It was like, okay, people want to do this. Okay, sure, yeah. Like a lot of video games growing up too. Like I didn't really care about it, but it's like if that's what, my friends at the time were doing, it's like, okay, yeah, sure. Like I'll join. And I wasn't necessarily putting 100% or like, doing my absolute best or like super focused on it because it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I was kind of just going along with, what other people wanted to do. Um, and there's a definition that was expressed to me not too long ago that I found really really powerful. Is feminine is energy, masculine is structure. And so
Yes.
for me, I was like, whoa, like that's
Yeah.
so like for that rings true. And so we're the structure,
Mm,
and if we let ourselves be manipulatable, um, if we have, it kind of comes back to integrity. It's like if we let people,
mm,
you know, change us super easily and like just manipulate us and like have them do have us do what they want to do, like
mhm,
we're not going to get anything done. Like
mm,
what's our goals, what's our purpose,
mm,
what do we want to do, and have nothing come between that. And for sure we have to be coachable, we have to adapt and change in order to reach those goals, because
yeah.
we don't have them right now because we're not that person who is the person who has them. And
Mm,
so still need to change and evolve, but uh, we got to stay grounded and stay true to ourselves. And I know for me, like in the past, and I'm still kind of evolving out of it,
mhm,
but being manipulatable, being um, I don't know, there's like probably like a right word that would just kind of put it all really well, but just um, being true to ourselves, like not easily swayed by the shiny object that kind of comes up,
yeah.
or being distracted, right? Like that's um, that's something that I'm embodying more and more, and
Mm,
I'm lucky to have really strong men that are around me to kind of show me that aspect and
mm,
learn from more and more. But that's definitely one of the things that I relate to, and where I've come, where you're just doing what you're told, or you're doing what other people want you to do,
mhm,
but bring that power in, and really that's where it comes from, because you're doing
mhm,
something for someone else and you don't really want to do it. There's no power there. There's no um, strength there, because it's um, it's kind of going against who you are in many ways.
mm,
So when you can align yourself with what you want to do, like that's where your real strength is. Like it's
yeah.
like it comes through you. It's like, oh, you're not forcing anything. It's not
Mm,
from the outside kind of trying to make it happen.
mm,
It's no, it just flows effortlessly in flow state.
mm,
That's where it's at. So have it come
yeah.
through you and do it because you want to do it. So
Mm,
many of us are doing things that because other people want to do it, we're not good enough to do what things for ourselves, or we don't feel worthy of our own goals. It's
mm,
like other people's goals are more worthy, or are more valuable. I know that's why I felt in the past. It's like doing what other people want because other people are more important. It's like
mm.
I'm here to serve, so I'm gonna do what they want. Uh, no, man, that's not how it works.
Mm, mm.
Gotta do
Man,
what
I
you
love everything you just said.
want.
I love everything you said. So there's so many things that I want to extrapolate from all of that. So the first thing, everything you were talking about, how you were in a way manipulated in the previous relationship. I had that same experience in the past relationship.
Mhm.
Um, and the right word that I feel like you were looking for is a doormat. So
Yeah. Yeah, man, we're just
that
man. You can
and
say that, or like another friend said it a little bit more bluntly. It's like you're being their little bitch.
yeah.
You're just doing what they want you to do, and that's it. Like, nah,
Yeah,
man.
and around all of this, I want everyone who, especially men, to all the men out there, get the book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's
Yeah.
by I don't have it here with me right now, but it's a great book, and
Mhm.
he's a psychotherapist. He breaks down how we as men evolved, especially being raised with women, by our mothers, how we became people pleasers, how we became doormats,
Yeah.
how we put others before ourselves, why we did it, why we did what we did, how it was coping mechanisms from childhood, especially with our moms. Again, going back to that family dynamic, those relationships that we had with our parents. So if you were raised by a single parent, especially with your mom, definitely get that book. No more Mr. Nice Guy. He's gonna break it down why you did what you did, why you thought what you thought, what your patterns and behaviors are, and how you can overcome them, because every single chapter has multiple exercises where you can really get discomfort and really get out of your comfort zone and really step into the man you want to become. um,
Yeah.
Something else that I wanted to break down and get into.
Well, before you go on,
Go for
like
it, go for it.
just being like the nice guy, yeah, like it's kind of like it kind of sums it up really well. And it's funny because um, weak men make angry women, and angry
Mm,
women make weak men.
fuck.
So
Oh my
it's this
god,
cycle
dude.
that goes on, and like women then think that it's like, oh, this man's weak. Like I have to step up. I have to provide whatever.
Embody that masculine energy.
Yeah, man, and
Yeah.
it creates all that resentment, and it's like,
Yes.
and it
Oh my god, bro.
yeah
Oh my God, bro. Yeah, and especially talking about like masculine and feminine energy. And a great book, another book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. That's a great book to check out as well. The polarity shifts around masculine and feminine energy.
yeah
How we all have both energies within us, but
yeah
men mostly embody masculine, women mostly embody feminine. And it can also change. Some women in leadership roles like CEOs that are women embody more masculine energy, and there's different conflicts around in our society, how the different polarities have shifted over the past few years and how that affects our society. So for example, let me
Mhm.
bring this up. If women embody more masculine energy and they bring up that masculine shield because they had traumatic experiences in the past with their fathers and or even mothers, and they stopped trusting their feminine energy and they had to bring up that masculine wall, then they'll start attracting feminine men in their lives. They'll start attracting those men, and they
yeah
if they're not conscious and aware of it, they'll actually be resenting them, they'll be shutting them down. If they're conscious and aware of it and they've done the inner work, they'll actually see like, hey, I'm actually attracting this man in my life because there's an inner wound that I haven't healed. There's a trauma that I haven't healed, and I've brought up a masculine wall. So that's why I'm attracting these feminine men. So once you heal your relationship with your woman, with your mom or dad, and you drop that masculine wall and you embody that divine feminine energy to all the women, then you'll start attracting those divine, sacred masculine men. And when you were talking about masculinity, about the masculine energy, we as masculine men, we get to be grounded. We get to, like you said, structure. So masculinity is structure, grounded, centered, focused, driven, assertive, um,
Yeah.
going, action taking. So like it's the CEO, it's the commander in chief in the army, it's even it's you being the business owner, or you being the boss or the manager. Like it's those aspects of masculinity. So it's so important for us men to step into that sacred masculine energy, to heal and release toxic masculine energy. So toxic masculine energy is
Yeah.
manipulation, it's control, it's destructive, it's rage. So it's those repressed emotions of anger coming up and bringing out rage. So if you haven't healed your repressed emotions, if you're not conscious and aware of them, and you're not able to release them in a healthy way, then you'll be really embodying that toxic masculine energy. And I've been seeing that in I saw that in myself in that past relationship. I've done a lot of work on myself around that. I've been embodying that sacred masculine energy, and I see that in our society right now, in a lot of leadership roles where there's a lot of toxic masculine energy. So that really gets to be healed. That really gets to be worked on. So again, to all you men out there, make sure you do the work. Make sure you work with Joel, work with me, work with anybody else. Get a therapist, get a coach to work on your traumas. Really heal your past relationships with your parents. Get clear on where you are right now in your polarities with masculine or feminine, and really get grounded and centered. Because especially with Mother Earth, like Mother Earth is that divine feminine energy. So if you men want to attract a divine feminine woman, you get to hold space for that. You get to be the embodied sacred man. You get to hold that sacred space and structure for that chaotic feminine energy, because feminine energy is wild. It's chaotic. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. It's going to flow. It might move you around, but not. Like you said, Joel, you got to be centered and still.
Yeah.
In those past experiences, when we were shaken up, when we were like moved around, tossed around, and like in different directions, it was that feminine energy. It's because we weren't embodying that masculine energy of grounded, of focus, of what we want, what we need, what we deserve, who we are, what our goals are. So different practices that come to mind right now is meditation. Like you said, definitely meditation, grounding yourself, censoring yourself in the morning, in the evening, journaling.
Yeah, journaling is huge. Like talk about
Huge.
like those emotions, right? And dealing with them in a healthy way. Because
Yeah.
like you can lash out and you can actually just like spread the disease, let's say, right? This
Yes. It's
emotion
a
that comes up.
poison.
And writing about it, like using it in a healthy way where it
Mm.
doesn't, you're not putting it onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Anything that allows you to express it, that gives you responsibility for it, um, that's the most important thing. Like journaling is huge, music, um, painting, anything that you're doing to express that, like that's what you need to do to express that healthily. And you can get a lot of good stuff done out of that too. Like it's so
Yeah.
much energy, and you can use it to drive you in a certain
Mm.
direction. Like um, there's so many things, and the most important thing is to take responsibility for it and to not put it onto somebody else. So
100%. And definitely working out. Working out is the best
working,
way to release those repressed emotions right away. So that's what my life coach taught me, and that's what I've done to experience that. For example, if a situation outside of you triggers you, and that button is being pushed, and for example, fear or anger comes up for you, instead of expressing it and releasing it on the other person, which is again the toxic poison,
yeah,
again, acknowledge what you're feeling. I am feeling anger, or I am feeling fear. You're consciously acknowledging it, you're accepting it, and then excuse yourself from the situation, excuse yourself from the conversation. Go
yeah,
outside, go to the gym, move your fucking body in an intense way, because it's that energy, it's emotions are energy and motion coming up. So it's those repressed emotions coming up as energy. So you want to release it in a healthy way. So move your body, work out, like move some weights around, fucking like scream, like go fucking crazy and hard, and just release those repressed emotions. Come
yeah,
back to that neutral flat state, and then reorganize, come back to that sacred space of coming back to the conversation. Like, all right, yeah, so this is what came up for me. This is what I felt. So again, don't put the blame on somebody else. Acknowledge and take responsibility. This is what I felt. Moving forward, my request is. So you acknowledge yourself, you take responsibility, and then you make a request. When you make a request, you're actually setting a healthy boundary. So respect yourself enough to set that boundary, and respect yourself enough to actually express it for somebody else to respect you. If they don't respect you once, all right, you set the boundary, you make a request. If they don't respect that boundary, if they step over it for the second time, then it's your responsibility to say, all right, um, am I going to give this person a third chance, or do they get to go? Are they not? Are they going to do it again? If they do it again, they get to go. And it's your responsibility to say, and to stand in your power and say, like, hey, this is not serving me. This person is not serving me. The situation or circumstance is not serving me. I get to love myself. So again, going back to self-love, love yourself enough to set that boundary, to know what you want, to know what you deserve, you know? So get into that topic right now. Get into self-love, get into all of that, all of that.
Yeah. Oh man. Um, Boundaries is something that I think I need to work on so much. Like it's something that I don't do nearly as much as I could. Um,
It's that nice guy syndrome.
well, maybe. Yeah, probably for sure. But what I've been doing is like self-forgiveness, and it's this phrase that anything that comes up, you know, I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed to whatever it is. And you know, it could be something as simple as like feel angry at my mom or like something like that, right? And that kind of it changes it right away. And yeah, I don't know. It's those boundaries are tricky.
Definitely important to set. Definitely important to set. Yeah.
Yeah,
So loving yourself, forgiving yourself, like you just said, having that forgiveness practice for yourself, putting yourself first, bro. That's the biggest thing that I've learned and experienced.
yeah,
Putting myself first, putting that oxygen mask on myself first, and really focusing on that self love with different practices throughout the day. So again, getting back into that discipline, and getting back into that book, what I said about the book about sovereignty. He speaks about you get to put yourself first as a man. You get to focus on those daily disciplines, and to really focus on being that leader for yourself first. Because when you step into that self-empowerment, when you are a leader, when you love yourself first, when you take care of yourself first, you're able to take care of other people better. Because
yeah,
when you always constantly focus on other people and forget about yourself, then your cup is empty, man. Your cup is empty. You're not going to be as effective as a leader. You're not going to be as effective as a husband or a father or a business owner. So really focus on taking care of yourself first, and really being that leader and that father figure for yourself. So the holistic psychologist Nicole on Instagram, she always talks about reparenting. So that talks about you. Okay, we acknowledge that we didn't have those fathers in the past. We love them. We accept it. We acknowledge it. And now we get to be those fathers for our inner childs. So also getting into that inner child work. So understanding that, hey, like, I love you. I care about you. I'm here for you. Nikita, you are safe. Joelle, you are safe. Always grounding yourself and knowing that we are here now. You know, we are here. We are adults. We are conscious, and we get to take care of ourselves. So reparenting, being those fathers, being those men for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, for our community, for the world, you know?
yeah, yeah, man. Parenting is huge. It's like, you
Mhm.
know, learning about that and learning how to be more effective in that.
Mhm.
I'm part of some parenting groups right now. I have a
Nice.
parenting call this afternoon, man.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, man, and it's it's kind of like even like I know I want kids one day, and it's about like doing what I need to do right now, you know, and so like yeah, putting that, instilling those structures right now in order to be ready for when it comes, because I've done a lot of things like last minute, and more it's about kind of setting things up, for the future, and yeah, thinking long term, those things.
Yeah. 100%. 100%, because you want to be your best. You want to be the best man. You want to be the best father for your future children. So do I. That's why I'm really focusing on doing that internal work and really working on myself and releasing anything that gets to be released, releasing anything that doesn't serve me, in order to be that best man and that best father for the future children that I have. Yeah, that's so important. That's so crucial right now in these days, because what I saw with my parents, their dynamic, them having me at a young age, like that doesn't work. Like I love them, I respect them. They did their best at the level of consciousness that they were at, and that's also something important to talk about as well. Like understanding that they're human, like everyone out there, like if you had that same experience or even abusive experiences, understanding that they're human beings. Again, going back to that forgiveness, that love for them, um,
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it was something right that has been done, but really understanding if that they did their best at the level of consciousness that they were at. And that's why it's so important for me to raise my consciousness and my vibration to heal whatever doesn't serve me, in order to move on and pass the best to the next generation moving forward. So that's the work that I'm doing right now. That's my why. Those are my principles
Yeah.
around future family. Um, Anything else around this that you want to talk about?
Well, it's easy to like label things and like say like this is bad, or like having kids
Yeah.
early on doesn't work or something like that. But one of the guys that I'm going to start working with very
Mm,
soon, um, Avery, he
mm,
was, I think he started making millions like in his early 20s, and
mm,
had a wife and kids kind of thing, like super early too. Like there's so many different cases out there, so many
mm,
different possibilities.
mm,
Um, it's yeah, it's like how
mm,
it's crazy, because like we get to have that certainty, we get to be that structure
mhm,
within the unknown,
mm,
like within not knowing, you know, really anything. Like in
mm,
the end, like we do things that work for us. We test things all the time,
mm.
but really, like when it comes down to it, we know nothing. Like
Yeah.
so coming from that, it's like I'm gonna do this and be certain about it, even if I have no idea what I'm doing. Like that's
Yeah.
fine. That's what it is. It's what it's all about. And so, yeah, man, it's even even through that, like even through not labeling anything in a way that
Mm,
allows us to be like, okay, that's that. Moving on to this.
mhm,
Um, I'll just yeah. Um, think like just allowing things to show themselves
mm.
in whatever way they want, and
Yeah.
then still having that certainty to move forward.
Mm.
So
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. So being in that structure, being in that ground and centered space, but also understanding that life happens. There's uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen in a minute or an hour or a day and a week and a month and a year. Um, and
yeah,
enjoying the journey of life, doing our best as human beings. We don't know what's going to happen. We're just here doing our best. We get to love ourselves. We get to love each other. We get to have compassion for everyone else, because everyone else is also doing their best at the level of
yeah,
consciousness that we're at. And that's what being human is about, doing your best, loving each other, having compassion for each other, understanding that there's the unknown, there's the uncertain, but that's the beauty of life as well. I feel like it would be boring if we knew that,
Yeah.
if we knew everything that was going to come, if
Yeah,
everything
we
that
don't
was
want that.
certain, it's boring, then it's like reading a chapter in a book that already that's going to happen. So like being grounded, having those daily disciplines, doing your very best, and surrendering to the unknown. That's the biggest thing that I had when I experienced psychedelics 2 weeks ago. I had so much control. My ego was fucking fear, straight fear, because my ego was so in the way
Mm.
that I had to surrender so much. And when I surrendered, there was so much healing. The ego fucking died in that moment. So that's the process. Like whether you try psychedelics or you go on a different on a retreat or a workshop, um, notice the fear that comes up, allow it to come up, acknowledge it, accept it, love it, and have the courage to move forward. I love your Instagram profile where it says, um, I forgot what it says, but it has something around courage.
Yeah, it's fear is the opportunity for courage.
I love that. I love that. Fear is the opportunity for courage, because in the past, I love this topic because in the past month I've actually been really working on facing fears, and a lot of fears have been coming up to the surface again and going back to, it's a mirroring process about what's going on externally. It's actually mirroring back to what's the fear that's coming up for us internally. So for me, um, the fear that has been coming up around is fear of abandonment, and that's what I was working on in the past relationship, and that's what happened through in my childhood. So it was fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, and all of that. If you take it apart, the root core is fear of death. So fear of abandonment and fear of judgment. If we bring it back to 10,000 years ago, if you were in a tribe, if you were abandoned and judged, then you were disowned from the tribe. That means you're going to be out in the wild by yourself. You're going to be fucking eaten by a pack of wolves. So it's actually fear of death. So we don't have the wolves, we don't have the lions and tigers out there right now, but there still is that response to
Yeah,
the
that
fears.
programming.
It is, and it's not even real. It's not even real. The fears that we have, it's not real. Danger, on the other hand, is different. Danger is um, running across the street and getting hit by a car. That's danger. Fear is actually our perception on an interpretation on what's going on. So facing a lot of fears. The psychedelic experience that I had was definitely an experience where I faced the fear with courage, and really dissolved the ego and surrendered to the unknown, surrendered to Mother Nature, and really had a powerful healing experience. I'm definitely going to have more of those in the upcoming future. Looking forward to sharing that with everybody else. And again, yeah, like really diving into my fears and facing them head on with courage. So I would love to hear from you, like, what are you working on right now for yourself? What do you feel right now in the current moment? And what do you get to do to face them?
Yeah, um, good question. So, what I get to do to face them
So what
is,
is the fear for you?
sorry?
What do you feel right now?
Yeah, I guess going into the unknown right now a little bit, like there's kind of like an excitement, but
Mm-hmm.
there's like this underlying fear because like right now I am going through a transition, um, going into starting an education company,
Mm-hmm.
and so when you're going into the world of sales where it's commissions, and you don't really have that salary, you're really working for yourself, and so um, there's many times in the past where you know I kind of jumped in and um, kind of like almost drowned. You like you barely make it out alive, and it's and it's like, okay, now I'm going to do that again. Like, is this really a good idea? And of course, yes, it is an amazing idea. Like this is something that I've never believed in more. And it kind of comes back to what I'm doing about it is is um, is just going through it, walking right through your fear. And sometimes it's as simple as the word. And this is essentially part of why I'm going through it, is because this allows me to give people a tool that allows them to restructure their whole vocabulary. And these fears are attached to words. When someone says this specific word, like sell, for example, you can have a fear of it. It's like, oh, selling, like I don't want to sell. Like I fear selling somebody something that isn't valuable to them, or I fear selling something that isn't worth their time, or like manipulating them into doing something and then them coming back and like, it's just all like fears that you can have, again, all around that one word. And if you read the definition of that word, you'll see what it means, and that it's actually nothing to be afraid of. You're transmitting somebody value, or you're exchanging services, and of course there's ethical ways to go about it, and there's structures to be put in place for you to be effective in that and to actually do it well. But that fear is in your mind, and it's holding you back so that you stay comfortable. And comfort doesn't grow. Like you gotta get out of your comfort zone and to explore the universe around you and grow, and actually just expand that awareness and try things and developing yourself to be the best version you can. And like one of the biggest things at the end of your life, people always say like, oh, I could have done this, or I should have done this, I should have taken more risk, or it's like, it's a lot of regrets. And it's like, no, a lot of us, everyone's young. It's people old is just like is one of those myths.
Yeah.
You can change any age you are. We're fortunate to have statistically a lot of years ahead of us, so we can make those risks now. We can go for what we want now, and into living our best life, really. Like that's what we can do, and we can inspire others to do, and go through our fears, because really it's like a cold shower, right? You don't want to do it, but then you do it and you feel great.
Yes.
Like it's the long-term emotions that we're after, and just feeling amazing, because like when you go through your fears, you feel amazing. And my buddies are making a I don't know if you can hear that. So I'm gonna take a quick pause maybe, or
but yeah, definitely.
That's what I had to say about fear, though. I don't know what you have to say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said around.
I can't even hear you. We take a little pause.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with everything you said around fear, and really facing the fears, and just having courage. Courage. What you said about courage. Courage is not like not being frozen in fear. It's actually facing your fears and doing it anyways.
Yeah.
So getting out of your comfort zone.
Distinction is also like being fearless. Like I thought that was the goal. It's like, well, I'm not scared of anything, like whatever comes up, like I'm not even afraid. I just do it. And it's actually a really bad thing, because when you're fearless, you're just avoiding the fears that are actually there.
Yeah.
And so you're just not coming up to you're like afraid of fear. And so it's better to feel that fear, because then you can overcome it. Like that's where the real power is. If you want to be fearless, you don't face those fears, and so you don't grow from them. If you're like, okay, no, I'm embracing fear because then I get to walk through it. I get to actually face those fears. That's when you can actually go into the right direction, because those fears are exactly what you need to do to move forward. So
Yeah.
if you're fearless, you're not moving forward, because it's that courage that is needed for you to grow and to walk through those fears. So little point there.
I love that. Yeah. That's actually what, again, going back to working with my life coach,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually what the emotion that we worked on in the beginning, because for us men as a society, we've been programmed to not feel our fear, so not feel our feelings. And fear is the biggest emotion the biggest feeling that us men try to not feel. We would rather feel anger. That's why rage comes up, because we would rather feel anger because it's a stronger and more powerful feeling. But
Yeah.
at the root core, it's fear. So
Yeah.
if a man becomes angry and raging, he's actually fearing. He's actually scared. So actually acknowledging what you're scared about, what you're fearing, acknowledging it, accepting it, and loving it in the moment, and actually letting it process and flow through you, you're actually given the opportunity to have a challenge, to challenge yourself, and to take action in facing your fear. And that's where growth happens. Like you said, it's like when you acknowledge that there's fear, you have the opportunity to grow. You have the opportunity to change and to evolve. When you're, like you said, like when you are fearless, you're just living a delusion about not feeling your feelings. You're
Like,
not
I
feeling
want
it.
to feel good now, so I'm gonna imagine that nothing scares me.
Yeah.
But you just get making yourself comfortable
Yeah.
in a world that
You're
you
right.
create.
You're right. And like I've seen it in myself in the past, and I see it a lot in our society, that we've got so fucking comfortable, man. Like so comfortable, especially men. Man, what I see out there, fucking beer bellies and men wearing no, like I know I'm gonna get a lot of like
No,
comeback on
man,
this,
it's
but like
okay. Sometimes you need to hear
men,
the truth, man. It's not
yeah,
about being
like
nice, it's about being
nah,
real.
nah, you're right, you're right. Men wearing fucking like all this woman clothing, and like on the seeing commercials like with men dressed up with on in dresses, and just like, come on guys, come on, yo, like is this what we're really dealing with in our society? Like men looking like fucking women? And come on, I accept and respect like gender and all that, and all those the transgender and everything else, and like gays and bisexuals, but yo, come on, man. Like if you're a man and you're wearing a woman's clothing, that's how are you going to protect and be a man in your society, in your community? You're just
Yeah.
gonna be a bitch. You're just gonna be a fucking woman. And then again, thinking about why are you attracting unhealthy women in your life? Because you're a fucking bitch yourself. And I love you, and I'm saying that with fucking love, because I had that in the past too. So like when
Yeah.
we as a society, we as men gotta man the fuck up. We gotta stop being bitches. We gotta get uncomfortable. We gotta take action. We get to take action. We get to do whatever gets to be done, for
Mhm.
ourselves, for our family, for our community, for the
Yeah.
world. We got to man the fuck up. That's it. It's it. We
Yeah.
got to man the fuck up. So
Yeah, because
that's what I got to say.
we're like, in the end, like, you know, we're like the providers,
Yes,
and
exactly.
so for me, it's like doing what's best for all. Having that as a principle allows me to just know that whatever I'm doing, like my intention is to provide for everyone around me, kind of thing.
Mm,
And you know, that's how we can grow. Like
yeah.
if humanity doesn't have any providers, like what's gonna happen? Like, we're all gonna whittle away and die.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we have to step up and actually give as much as we can, and so that we can all grow and we can all, have the best life.
Mm,
And now, if not, if not us, then who, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah. And even like, man, again, I might get some comeback on this, but I'm gonna be real. I know I'm Mr. Nice Guy, but yo, even like with this feminist stuff, like, again, I love you unconditionally to all of you. I accept you and I respect you, but like with all this polarity shifts with masculine and feminine energy, like men becoming more feminine with their fucking testosterone going down in their beer bellies and all this shit. And there's a lot of different programming from the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry and
yeah,
all these different
100%.
systems set in place where it's all programming these men to be fucking feminine and all these women becoming fucking masculine and taking on these roles. Again, you are definitely able to be and do what men do, but is it necessary? Is it optimal? You know, is it optimal for our society for women doing things that men are just naturally born to do? You know, it's
Yeah,
about going back to acceptance. It's about accepting that, hey, yes, you can definitely do what a man can do. You could definitely be a firefighter or um, hunt and go after that fucking gazelle if we go back to thousands of years ago. But is that optimal? You know, is that optimal? Because I definitely don't want to see men fucking sitting at home doing nothing and raising a fucking baby. You know, I in my maybe it's my delusion, but maybe in my experience, I would rather see a woman that is loving and nurturing, holding a child next to her breast and having that intimate connection and that divine feminine connection with that child, because that child needs that feminine love. That child needs that woman love. You know, that's so fucking necessary for a child's development, to have that intimate touch with a woman, to have that intimate touch with that breast and that connection. And that child definitely needs that masculine role model, that man that has protection over that family, that has that is able to provide and ground and structure and support, you know, and love with the ability that he can love, you know. So
yeah,
understanding these things, like, again, like, I accept and I love everything that's going on, everyone, them being them, but is it optimal? You know, is it optimal for our race to survive? Is it optimal for our humanity to evolve and to grow and to raise our vibration and consciousness as a collective being? You know, is it optimal? It's except it definitely is able to happen, but is it optimal? So that's
yeah,
what I want to bring up.
yeah, man. I'm happy that you say that too, because I I believe there's definitely an agenda in order to like mess up
Oh yeah.
society.
Oh yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
being able to see that, in society,
Yeah.
and how, uh, like even all the big role models on TV and movies, they've all had a role to play in like a dress or something,
Mm,
in order to kind of to mess with people's
yeah.
minds in the end.
Yeah.
And and so your ability to process information and to see that, like, that's really important, because
Yeah.
it's creating a lot of confusion. Like
Oh
even
yeah.
little kids, right? They're gonna see like this guy's wearing a dress, like what's going on there? And like
What
that
is
just
going on?
creates so many different questions, and it's like, oh, um, it really messes up people a lot. And it's
It
like
does.
there's we have roles to play,
Yes.
and there's there's a reason, why we are who we are.
Yeah.
And when we get pulled in directions that it's like, oh, maybe I'm a girl or something, and
Mm,
and um it just creates so much confusion and so much misinformation,
yeah.
and it's it just slows us down. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a it's like when you can see something and know what its purpose is, or know what it's for, like that's what's great. Like
Mm,
that's when you can be most effective.
mm,
And then but then when and of course that's still, you still have a lot of possibilities within that.
mhm.
But when you want to go in the wrong direction, when you want to use a hammer to fix a phone. Like, it's not what it's for. Like,
Yeah.
there's you know, you can try all you want, but like, you're just gonna break things. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, use things for what they're for,
Yes.
and beyond that, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's crazy because it's just your ability to process reality and like understand what things do and how they can be used most effectively. And yeah, I mean, there's some pretty crazy stuff out there though, like information about why society is where it is. A great um, documentary is the oh man, it's something about the self. The wow, I can't remember. Like it just kind of got out of my head right now. The Century of the Self,
Mm.
right? As soon as you let things go, they usually just come out right away.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love that.
the Century of the Self. Okay, if you wanna if you wanna learn about how society has been shaped in a lot of ways and
Mm.
how like I've gone into marketing a lot because of how effective it is for sales and all that. And you see a lot of danger there. Like marketing is extremely effective in many bad ways.
Mm. Yeah.
Manipulation,
Yeah.
you know, like it is huge in that. And yeah, we've literally been marketed to in so many ways that send us in the wrong direction in order to, you
Mm.
know, to keep us poor, to keep us ineffective, to keep us in a slavery mindset so that
Mm.
we're working in 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah.
We're doing things that we don't love in order to, you know, just sacrifice ourselves for the system that doesn't support us,
Mm.
feeds us junk and
Yeah.
and essentially just like poisons us so that we stay small.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I invite everyone to look up the Century of the Self
Mm.
and to just learn about what's going on in the world because
Mm.
it's it's up to us to see reality for what it is right now, not
Yeah.
to be delusional about it, to actually face it and to be like, okay, yeah, there's some really messed up stuff in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm committed to doing something about that. Like just
Mm.
look at it like child trafficking
Mm.
and the prostitution, like
Mm.
are huge problems. We go to you know third world countries and essentially just like selling children to elite people to do whatever they want, and
Mm.
it's like that is not okay, you know. And it's weak men that allow that because
Mm.
we think we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if people actually took responsibility for themselves and stood up for what was best for all.
Mm.
We wouldn't allow that to happen
Mm.
to little kids. Like they're innocent, you know? And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's there's definitely some things that need to change, and it's only with strong men that we can actually have that change. Like
Mm.
and yes, women are a part of that. There are people that are supporting us really
Yes.
100%. Like
Oh my God. Yeah.
and it's like it's the energy, you know, they provide us the energy to
Yes.
actually go and do this. And
Yes.
so no one's doing it alone. Like we all need each other and we're all
100%.
you can't have another kid if you don't have two parents. Like if you don't have a mom
Mm.
and a dad, you don't have a third kid. So
Yeah.
you need both. Like there's no
Yes.
denying that. Like you can go as like it's pretty scientific, you know.
Yeah.
It's this isn't a theory. You don't it's not oh two men can have a kid. Like I'm sorry, but it's just not how it works.
It's not.
Like you can want it all you want, and if it makes you happy, then great. But there is an efficient way and an optimal way of
Mm.
doing things,
Yeah.
and like it's all about just trying it out. You know, like maybe
Mm.
you don't want to at first. Maybe it seems wrong, and and you've been burned so many times, but it's like, okay, are there other people that are doing it very well? Like maybe
Mm,
talking to them, seeing what's going on, like connecting with people that are, you know, that are the most effective that you can see. Like
mm,
reach out to those people and see what they have to say. And we're all doing it together. Like there's
yeah.
this is all one being coming
Mm,
together with its with its efforts and going in a direction that's best for all.
mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, man, connect with reality. Like
100%.
really,
100%. It's team human, you know, it's team human beings, you know, there's no them and us, you know, it's team human. And I want people to question, you know, I want people to ask questions
even that
of,
though, even beyond that team human, like it goes beyond humanity.
oh
Like
yeah, 100%. 100%. Everything is one. We're all one. 100%. We're energy. We're team energy. Yeah. But yeah, I really want people to ask questions, you know, ask questions and really break through that bubble of illusion, you know, really break through that bubble of programming, and question what's going on, you know, ask what's going on. You see, wake the fuck up. That's exactly what I want people to do. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up to reality. Ask yourself, like, what is going on? What is their agenda, you know? Are you gonna be controlled your whole fucking life by these people, you know? But I don't want to. I want to be fucking free. That's my chief aim. I want to be fucking free. I want to be a free man, and I want to support other people to be free, and I want to support other men to be free, and
yeah,
just to come together as a team, as a collective, and just to rise above. Fucking rise above, brother. Fucking rise above. That's exactly what I want. Freedom and rising above all of this fucking illusion, all of this manipulation and control and destruction, you know, because if we as a collective want to evolve and move forward, we get to band together, you know, we got to band together and just take a stand, you know, we got to take a stand, um, and be strong. We got to be strong for everyone. We got to be strong for ourselves again, for our families, for our friends, for our community, and the future, our future generations. So ask questions, um, know what you want, get clear on your purpose, get clear on your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. It's time. It's time to wake the fuck up. That's it.
100%.
Yeah.
And, that why is huge. The
Yeah.
bigger the why, the bigger the easier the how.
Oh yeah. 100%, man. Yeah. And really having a purpose bigger than yourself. You know, having a purpose bigger than yourself, because that's what's going to wake you up. That's what's going to drive you. That's the fire and the fuel that's going to support you. And having a band of brothers next to you that are going to hold you high, hold you accountable, um, and just doing it together. It's about team. It's about playing as a team. It's about playing team. It's about win-win. So what I'm seeing right now, it's a lose-lose situation out there, and we get to create that win-win. So
Yeah.
let's come together. Let's wake up. Let's ask questions, and let's see what can we do together. You know, what can we do together as a community, to support our family, to support small businesses, and wake them up, wake everyone up, and expose what's going on, expose what's coming up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Man, I have so many other questions to ask you, and let's definitely do part two because there's so many things to talk about. Um, but before I ask my final questions, where can people find you and learn more about you?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm on pretty much every social media at Joel Boudreau. Um, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm mostly on Instagram and Facebook right now. LinkedIn, it's all there. And yeah, I mean, thank you, Nikita. And
Of course.
Uh,
thank you for being here. And before I move on, is there anything else that you would want to share with the viewers? Anything else that you're inspired to share from your heart, from your soul, from your spirit? Anything else that wants to travel through you right now, authentically?
yeah. So I'm just getting into this new business called Techno Tutor,
Mm,
and I don't think that there's a more powerful tool for us to connect with reality and go through our fears and processing information, because technology moves more and more, faster and faster. I don't know if you guys know about GPT-3, but that stuff is insane. I'm very excited, and it's about being able to process that information, because we can have it all come to us, but if we can't understand it, if we can't process it and make a decision based on that information, we are very limited in what we can do. And so, it's about being responsible for ourselves, taking that responsibility and understanding reality for what it is, and being able to communicate effectively and just connect with each other, like understand what we're going through, and be able to listen in, because when people speak and we don't understand the words that they say, it could be easy for us to just shut down and to, like, start to have some thoughts that are maybe resentful. It's like, oh, do they think I'm stupid or something because they're using these words and I don't really know what they mean. And then you know your vocabulary is the most important thing that you could do to grow as a person. Reading books, right? Readers are leaders. Like, why is that the case? Like, they understand words, they understand what those words mean, and they're able to make decisions based off of that. So the level of vocabulary is directly related to your success in life, to how far you're going to go. So this is what I'm getting into. This is what I'm committed to share around the world.
mm,
So reach out to me if that's something that it interests you.
mm.
And of course, I still do NLP and hypnosis coaching, so that's just a bonus. Uh, yeah,
Awesome, brother.
it's yeah, important more than ever, for sure.
It is definitely, definitely. Yeah, I love it. And words is a vibration. So it's our vibration that speak through us. So when you're able to communicate your vibration clearly, you're able to communicate that to others, and they'll be able to understand your others. Um, so it's that vibration and energy that we're actually transmitting. Um,
Yeah,
I love it, man. I love it. Definitely, definitely important to have that out there. So everything's going to be in the description below. Uh, Last question. What is your definition of high performance, and what does it take to reach that level?
yeah. So high performance for me is being your best. Uh, it's kind of very simple, but doing your best, like whatever you believe to be the best things that you could do. Um, it's about being aligned with that, like,
Mm,
and based on reality, like based
mm,
on real data, on real, physical um, reality.
mm,
And so sometimes we can think we're doing our best, but it's a delusion. We're not. It's not
mm,
based on reality. So
mm,
it's like, what can other people see you do that shows you that you're doing your best?
mm,
And so I just, that inner knowing, you just know within yourself if you're doing your best or not, like it.
mm,
And so if you can tap into that and know that you are doing your best, then that's peak performance.
mm.
And And yeah, of course, it needs to be based on reality too. Like, so yeah, I mean, reaching out to the best people, learning from the best. That's that's what peak performance is for me, and it comes into health, um, your body, your mental state, your spirituality, your connection with the world around you. Um, that's what peak performance is for me.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Get grounded in your reality. That again, and a meditation is a powerful tool and modality to use that to get grounded, to get centered, to ask questions about yourself, your beliefs, release what no longer serves you, and have a bigger purpose and why for what you want to create in this planet, on this planet, for others, for yourself, and wake people the fuck up, because it's time. It's time to wake the fuck up. It's time to wake the fuck up.
It
Man, I
is.
love you. I want to acknowledge you for being here and being a blessing on this planet, being a fucking light for this world, shining bright, shining your joy, just your beauty and your authenticity just shines through. So I want to acknowledge you for being who you are, pursuing that peak performance and optimized state that you want to be at, and really taking action on shifting the education system with TechnoTutor, and just all the impact that you make on this planet with NLP and hypnosis and everything else that you're doing on this planet. So thank you for being here. You're a blessing. You're a warrior. You're a spiritual warrior here to make an impact. You're a spiritual warrior here to wake people the fuck up and really ask questions. So we gotta start asking more questions, and we
Yeah.
gotta get to the cause. It's time to get to the root cause and really get clear on what's going on. So thank you for being here. I acknowledge you. I appreciate you for being here. I'm grateful for you. And thank you for everything that you've shared with the viewers and myself today. Um, Thank you so much, brother. And to everyone listening, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, pursue high performance. Peace.
Thank you, Nikita.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother.